had projects that the Asaph members embarked upon. We would just like to show you one of those things that was done. We decided to do Salvation Army project, and it was coordinated everywhere at the same time at where all members are to make sure it happened. So on behalf of all of us, we want to show you what we did. And we're also going to ask you for our prayers and our support. Enjoy and watch. This slide, as been shown, was a kind of a coordinated effort among all our members that we should give to the needy. So every chapter decided to put together what they have, and we donated that to Salvation Army. There are other programs that we like to do. This is one of them for 2012. But for 2013, we have other things like the food drive, the medical drive, outreach program, and a lot more. Just to know that we also are responsible in our communities for what we do, just to say thank you, but because what God has provided for us. So as you watch this program, what is in your mind? What can I do to help members of Asaph of Sarah? What can I do in my community? What can I do to share the grace and the glory of God in our lives? May the name of the Lord be praised. Amen.
5 seconds. Heavenly Father, we bless you for this grace and the opportunity as we will be discussing our financial needs and strategies. We ask that your Spirit lead us. We ask that we'll be Spirit-filled. And we ask that as we are listening, we will use each of this point to our needs and to better ourselves so that we can be useful to you and glorify your name. In Christ's precious name we pray. All right. Why are we talking about college fund? That's one of the topics we'll be discussing. We'll talk about the different types. We'll talk about the benefits, and we'll advise us on how to enroll. You have to excuse me. I've been told I need to have my roller skates on, so we have to hurry up. The very first question, why college fund? In our PowerPoints, we said, because the cost of education is constantly increasing, constantly going up. What I paid for my undergrad college is not what my son is paying, and it won't be what somebody else younger than him will be paying. We also talk about one important thing. As parents, it is our duty. So it is the right thing to do. Cost is going up. Inflation is everywhere. The cost of college is no different. It's going up as well. And more importantly, because it is the right thing to do. We will be talking about 3 plans today. One is the 529. We have the Gerber Life College Fund, and we also have mutual funds. This list is not all-inclusive. It's just 3 because we're limited in time. But this is what we will be enlightening ourselves on today. The very first one, 529 fund. What is it? The types that there are, the benefits, And how do we go about enrolling? So the first topic, what is 529 fund? The IRS, in their infinite kindness, created the 529 fund. It was created not just to help us as people, as individuals, but it's their way of releasing that responsibility from the government. Because if you and I have it, we would not have to wait. We would not have to wait on the government to pay for our kids to go to college. So it was created to help families to save for college fund. It is also created to help us as we're filing our taxes annually to give us some kind of token back. So I want us to look at it as a tax planning scheme. Two things that we'll be doing for us, we'll be saving to have the peace of mind to send our kids to any college they want to go to. Plus, we take the tax benefit. So it's a win-win situation. And it is not restricted by state. So I live in New York. I can have 529 fund in California. I can have it in New York. And grandparents can also open an account. So you're not restricted. And the benefit is not just limited to the federal tax. It's also, it also includes the state deduction. So just to recap, the 529 is a state program professionally managed by the state in each state that we are. It's not restricted to any one particular state. We're able to open it to help our kids to go to college, and at the same time, we take the tax benefits. There are two types of the 529 plans. They call it two categories. There is a prepaid and there is a savings plan. The prepaid one is more or less an endowment. You pay the total amount you believe it will cost your child to go to school for the duration of their course of study. It could be 4 years, it could be 6 years, it could be 9 years. So if God bless you so much and you have the money, you can pay up, for instance, $250,000 into the fund up front, and it will be professionally managed, and you will have the right as the account owner to direct your investment. Your kids do not have authority over the fund, so it would not be mismanaged by the kids. And as a parent, you have the right also to withdraw this fund at any point in time and redirect it. One, you open it for college savings, and it's a qualified plan because you're not paying taxes on it. That's what makes it qualified. But at any point in time, if your kid decide I'm not going to college, I want to do something else, you can always get your money back. Here is the trick to that. All the money that your money made, all the interest, all the dividends, all the distribution, whatever it is on your fund will be subject to tax because you never pay that tax, and you are going to avoid that tax had it been that the kid went to college. So the benefit, as we can see in the slide, saves your kids from crying, saves them from wondering, how come I cannot go to the college of my choice? Our prayer is that we would not be the stumbling block in the way for our kids to go wherever God is taking them. One of them is having the money to send them to the college that will enhance their talents and that will help them to grow. The second one we already mentioned, which is the tax benefits. And also other contributors. We can have friends. Asaph is talking about, helping the welfare fund. If our welfare fund happens to relate to you or we extend a hand of love to you, you can open an account on that account. And also, we have multiple accounts that we can open. Real quick, can we please switch over to Garber College Fund? This is a little different. Before I go on, any question in the audience, please, on 529 fund? Yes, sir. Would you need the mic?
No, that's fine. If you use this money before the kids go to school, say you use it to run short of mortgage, and you lose it, any penalty there?
Thank you, sir. The question is if the parents decides to use this fund for something else, for example, paying your mortgage, is there any penalty? Yes, there is. And the penalty will be 10% in addition to all the taxes that are due on your earnings. So if you've earned over 10 years, let's say you've earned $10,000, you will be paying based on your tax bracket at that point, plus 10% penalty. The 10% is tax. It's not tax, it's the penalty that you'll be paying over the balance in the account, but only on the earnings, not on the principal. Any other question? Yes, sir.
Is there any website on this that one can go for more clarification?
Yes, sir. Since you asked up front, I'll just give it now. I was hoping I'll give it at the end. We can all go to New York State Department of Finance and Taxation. If you type that in, you should be able to get tons of information. We can also Google it because each state has its own 529 fund. And you can just type in New York State 529 fund. Or even California. California, I believe, is managed by TIAA CRAF. So sometimes it's managed by the state, sometimes it is managed by a private investment bank or investment company, excuse me. Any other question?
My question is exactly when can a parent decide to start saving up for, for the college tuition, or how late, what's the cap on 529?
Okay,
as far
thank
as
you.
the age
Okay.
of the child?
All right. To answer that question, it's not a one size fits all. There is no earliest or late that this can be opened. But I will suggest, as we all say, you're better off to start as early as that child has a social security number, if you can. And the amount you will have to start with doesn't have to be huge. It can just be $50, $25. It could be $100, it could be $1,000. It depends on how much you can afford. And talking about lateness, there is no late time. You can start at any time. And it helps to pay for any and almost all the necessary costs, except for some exclusions that there are. All right, in light of time, we might, one last question. I was gonna run.
You have 3 kids, and you have it for the first one, but you don't use it for Anna. You choose to use it for Mary, because when Mary was going to college, you still have money in your pocket. Now you didn't use it. Can you use it for Anna? Or all of them finish school? Can you use it for your own retirement?
Well, I heard, just before I answer your question, I heard something at a burial service. The gentleman came up, he was supposed to give the eulogy. He said, if you're good for yourself. So in light of that statement, meaning you were initially saving for your kids, and at the end of the day, you realized God bless you so much, you didn't even have to use the fund. Yes, you could use it for yourself. To answer your first question, yes, you can initially start out to save for 3 kids. It's not kid specific. It is not college specific. So I can start out to pay for a New York State college, and the kids decided, look, I'm not going, I'm going to Europe, and I don't have to pay a penny. Then I can use it for something else. I can use it for the kids, I can use it to pay my house, and I can use it for my retirement. The key point here is, anytime you do not use the 529 for college, then that takes it away from being qualified to non-qualified plan. And when we talk about qualified, you can pay it out monthly if you want. I mean, I'm sorry. You can choose to, your payout amount to be either monthly or you can have it one time. But it's an increment of 10 years plan. So if I open it 5 years ago and my kid is going to college this year, I'm not gonna be able to get a payout because I have, the duration of 10 years is required. So it could be 10 years, 20, 30, 40, increment of 10. You can start any time, but for you to take out any money, it has to be an increment of 10 years. And there is no restriction on how you use your fund. So if you open it for college sake, you can use it to travel around the world. And I'll answer why, because I know we all have that question. The face amount is not affected by death. That's a very important point that we'll also come back to. Taxes are paid as you go. This is why we have the freedom to use it for whatever we want. So if I open, for example, if I open an account with $10,000 today, and in 10 years I want to take it out, it grew to $15,000. I do not owe a penny on that $15,000 because on an annual basis, Gerber Fund will send you a 1099, which is to tell you how much you've earned on an annual basis so you can pay your taxes. So you're paying your taxes as you go, and you do not owe a penny when you're taking the money out. That answers the no restriction on fund users because it's not a qualified plan and you already pay your taxes. So the IRS doesn't have any hold on you. So you can use it however you want. The face amount is not affected by death. This is really important and I want us to follow on this point. When we open on a 529 or even a savings account, when we start saving for our kids to go to college, God forbid, if we cease to exist 3 days after, there goes that college fund, because if I'm the sole contributor into the college fund, then if I were dead today, then there goes my college fund. There will be no contribution anymore. So if I've only contributed $50, that's all the college fund my kid would have. But in the Gerber Fund, there is a face value. That's the insurance element in this fund. If I open that account today, after the waiting period that is associated with all insurance policy, after that waiting period, if anything happens to me, my kid gets the face value at the set time. So if it's 10 years, if it's 20, if it's 30, they get the face value. So that is not affected. That's one of the key points of this fund. Before we move on to the last one, which is the mutual funds, any question whatsoever on Gerber Fund? And as we're waiting on any question, we can go on to www.gerberfund.com, or we can Google it. We can put Gerber in, and we'll get that information. Any question? All right. I guess that part was really interesting. So the last one on college fund will be mutual funds. We all know what mutual fund is. It's a pool of fund from different individuals that's professionally managed. And for the most part, there are three types. We have the open end, the unit investment trust, and the closed end. The difference between the open end and the closed end is the open end is always ready to pay out to its shareholders at the end of any business day. So if I'm not locked in, basically. I can take it anytime I want. The open end is the reverse. You can't. You're locked. It's a contract. You're locked in. And the unit investment trust wasn't so popular, but it's very popular now. You buy a unit as you go on each of this. It depends on what your interest might be. But the risk to the mutual fund is it fluctuates with the market. So if you put in 10,000, not like the Gerber fund with the insurance element, you may end up having a negative balance, which is usually not very possible, but we've all known all things are possible with the world market. So mutual fund, be very careful, know why you're investing, know what you're investing in. Most important thing that you must do with mutual funds is you have to be, your basket of investment must be balanced. You cannot go to the extreme right or extreme left, and choose wisely, because your fund is being invested to things that you might not be aware of. So benefits, it will provide you the resources that you would need when you would need it. Meaning when your kid is ready to go to college, there will be money, even if it's just to buy them, tops, pens, cookies, candies, textbooks, anything. At least they won't come to you and say, Mommy, I need this, or Daddy, I need this. You go, I don't have money. In some households, I don't have money, it's music. So